Daring doesn't need a special Somepony, and the quest for the really important thing.
Fireworks? On Hearts and Hooves Day?
No, my ears do not deceive me. I'm trotting through the busy streets of Cloudsdale, cleverly disguised as a Weather Factory employee, and I nearly spit my bit and blow the whole thing because a firework goes right off above my head. These ponies' lives are apparently more depressing than a Lemony Snigger book, if they think Hearts and Hooves Day calls for the celebratory fireworks. Talk about boring. My life, on the other hand, is the epitome of every young pony's dreams. Adventure, excitement, danger, crying over a typewriter at 3 in the morning because I can't figure out the right adjective to describe the stench of Aoizodel's breath. Unholy. That's what I finally went with. Though rancid and disgustingly reminiscent of strawberries were also strong contenders. Anyway, the point is that I'm quite happy with my life, thank you, and the fact that I'm sneaking into a city to get a box of candy does not mean I wish I had a special Somepony to shower me with sweets. To the contrary, I would much rather wade through the infestation of mushy, gushy heart decorations, fight through the throngs of brain-addled lovebirds, and endure the grueling task of deflecting the cashier's nosy intrusions into my love life than think of the fact that I'll be stuffing my face with sugar. Alone. Because all my love interests either get eaten or get away before I get the second date. Wait. No, I meant that I'd rather spend time buying candy once a year than have to waste my life with boring stuff like movies and flowers and feelings. That's what I meant. Not whatever it is I just thought.
Where's an editor when I need one?
Like a veritable temple of dreams, my destination appears on the horizon, painted in the burning golds and scarlets of the setting sun. I trot a bit faster, even in the middle of the dinnertime rush, when all the couples should be thoroughly lost in each other's eyes over plates of rose petal alfredo at Pierre's overpriced pansy pasta, or whatever the 3-story sugar cloud confectionery is, buzzing with activity. I push the door open and slip inside, firmly tugging my safety hat over my gray mane. The yellow brim cuts off the upper half of my vision, but it's a small price to pay for inconspicuousness. Besides, I've gotten this route committed to memory, both from careful planning and years of successful operations. Well, mostly successful operations. Never mind. No time for that now. Now is the time to cautiously advance across the shiny, polished foyer, humming softly under my breath. Average ponies do that, right? Then avoid the pale blue hooves, observing the chocolate-dipped daisies. I skirt around the edge of the ground floor cafe, vaguely reminded of that one cave system underneath the Rasden Sanctum. True, I was avoiding venomous alligators instead of sugar-hyped fillies and colts, but it's the same idea. Up the staircase that wraps around the inner wall of the rotunda, past the warm, nutty aroma of the prey-lined apartment, dodge the freshly hoof-cured yellow legs, shake head at the sales mare offering a sample, back staircase identified, and almost there now. Ascend, turn left, potential bystanders, survey area, negative. I push the hat back, opening up my field of view. A few stray hairs escape, but it's not that big of a deal. I need to be able to see the object I've been pursuing, the goal of my quest. That's important. It'll be a box, slightly larger than the hardbound copies of my books, wrapped in thin silvery paper that catches the light and turns it into rainbows, shimmering across the untarnished surface. I'll open the container gently, or maybe frantically, revealing the small candies within.
Rainbow truffles.
It's true that most of the treasures I hunt are ancient relics, remnants of the splendor of centuries past. Some empires achieve power and leave behind crumbling cities and collapsing towers. Other dynasties devote themselves to the high arts, the classics, which are the academic elite fawn over whilst bemoaning the deterioration of modern artistry. The academic elite had never had a rainbow truffle, and that's all I'm gonna say about that, because I try not to make a habit of waxing poetic while working. I could almost taste the victory in the air as I round the final corner, the candy stock shelves falling away due to revealing a relatively undecorated stretch of wall. To my right is empty space, a crystalline cloud-spun balustrade, the only thing separating me from the sugar brothel 2 floors down below. Directly in front of me, artfully arranged on an ivory tablecloth, is...
Nothing? Please, no. I'll write my dissertation for Dr. Caballero all over again, just not this.
the previous year. The cheerful lights of the Sugar Cloud confectionery glow merrily, casting the store in a warm, inviting light. Outside, the nighttime sky watches over the few Pegasi bold enough to venture into the early spring air. I only vaguely notice these things, however, because I'm wondering if my extremely specific set of skills is sufficient to get away with murder. The victim to be is a seafoam blue mare wearing a tracksuit, startlingly white mane, about my age, athletic builds, with purple sunglasses that hide her eyes from view. She didn't even remove them when she crashed into me on her way to the stairs, sending my red spectacles flying across the cafe.
Sorry, lady.
She had shouted over her shoulder, not even slowing down as she disappeared into the second level. I'm left to retrieve my glasses from the ice cream sundae they've fallen into. Alone.
Who even eats sundaes this late at night? Holy hey, you're Icky Yearling!
The owner of the sundae exclaims, brandishing his spoon at me. Pink ice cream splatters all over my disguise.
I love your books. Will you sign my book, or my wing? I don't have a pen, but could you use chocolate syrup?
Crap. Ponies are beginning to murmur, more and more faces turning towards the commotion.
Sorry, kid. Just an impersonator.
I say, grabbing his hoof and shoving a spoon into his mouth. And then, I'm gone, running up the stairs as fast as I can without losing my jacket and hat. The second floor is in utter chaos. Half of the merchandise is on the ground, granulated sugar sinking into the dense cloud stuff, and the other half is scattered across the shelves in complete disarray. A few of the employees are frantically trying to clean up, but I see at least 3 of them staring in abject horror at the back staircase, where I spot a flash of seafoam blue, the tracksuit mare. I spring into the air, abandoning my alter identity as I spread my wings and soar over the sugary wreckage, the purple cape fluttering down onto an unsuspecting employee. I twist in midair, planting my hooves against the mostly empty shelf, and push off towards the staircase. Stretch and dive. Avoid sugar-spun chandelier, arch back, allow front hooves to touch down on caramel apple display. Let momentum carry, backflip and push off, bid farewell to the glasses, land, grab Candy Cloud novelty hat, put it on in self-satisfied fashion, pause for dramatic effects. Remember task at hand and yelp, postpone awesomeness, resume chase. Ignoring the employees' protests, you really aren't supposed to fly indoors, I zoom up to the stairwell to the 3rd floor. Sanctum of the Holy Rainbow Truffles. Tracksuit mare immediately stands out. She's tearing through the aisles one by one, obviously looking for something. There's only one delicacy tasty enough to warrant such drastic search tactics, and unlike her, I know where they are. I dash over to the display table, skidding to a halt just to have Tracksuit Mare barrel into me, apparently finished with her destructive dissection of the room. We roll away from the table in a tangled mess of feathers and shiny soft, blue tracksuit-wearing limbs.
I wish I could wear pretty colors.
No, focus.
Those truffles are mine, civilian!
I grunt, trying to get to my hooves.
The fate of Equestria depends on it!
Tracksuit Mare slips and falls, her white tail caught in my shirt buttons.
Who are you calling civilian, lady? I'm on official REA business.
Oh. Blue tracksuit mare, athletic physique, overly fond of sunglasses. That all makes sense. She's one of those flyers, that stunt team with the posters and the flying and stuff, whatever. You know the ones that I'm talking about. I grapple with her, muttering through gritted teeth.
Big deal. Those truffles keep me going. I need them.
She snaps her wings out suddenly and flaps, pulling her tail free of my shirt and removing a button or 3 while she's at it, and then it's a race to see who can get to the table first. She may be a professional flyer, but I'm not still alive today without reason. You don't get through booby-trapped ruins with namby-pamby wing power. It doesn't really matter. I fly as hard as I can, harder than the time I was trapped in a rapidly filling well with no way out but up, and it doesn't matter. I barely registered Tracksuit Mare, so I am lost in the chasm of sorrow that rises up and consumes me. Because there are no more truffles. Now, here's the thing about rainbow truffles. Cloudsdale's Weather Factory makes them, 1 week a year, specifically for Hearts and Hooves Day. The Sugar Cloud Confectionery is the only shop licensed to distribute them, and they're normally so expensive that I'd have to sell a ring of Scorchero on the black market to afford a box, which I have admittedly done before. But on the evening of Hearts and Hooves Day, the factory sends out the final shipment of truffles to the confectionery, which puts them on sale because they're not a super popular item, and most of the holiday rush is already over anyway, so there's a 1, maybe 2-hour window in which I can afford to buy 3 or 4 boxes, enough to set me up for the whole year. I've been at this long enough to know that I need to get at least 1 box. Those candies are the highlight of my year. My book sales figures are guaranteed to take a hit if I don't get to partake in the polychromatic deliciousness. Years where I go without them are just worse. I make more mistakes, having boring near-death experiences, and forget how to properly use conjunctions. I mean, who wants to read a long run-on sentence describing how I nearly died of liver failure because I switched brands of acetaminophen and accidentally took 4 times the recommended dose? No, Pony. That's who. So, understand that when I say I'm drowning in despair, I am quite nearly struggling for breath. But then, just like water rolls off of waxed parchment, the panic falls away, unable to see past my layer of awesome.
Don't be a wimp. There's a way to fix this. There's always a way out. You just have to look. Oh, come on!
Tracksuit Mare kicks the table hard, and the cloud stuff just eats her hoof. She tries to tug it out, in vain.
I was so close. So close! Stupid candies and stupid misty fly and stupid...
I opted to ignore her, instead peeking over the railing and scanning the cafe floor below. Ponies mill out, a cluster of them heading out in the night air.
Nope. Nothing, no. Oh, yes! What is it?
The mare asks, immediately ceasing her lamentations. I point down into the lobby, and she pulls free of the table without a second glance.
White stallion with the blue mane, heading towards the door, brown paper confectionery bag in his teeth.
We both watch as he meanders on past the lamp, unaware of our gazes. Something in the bag captures the light for the briefest of moments, reflecting it back in a shimmering rainbow before he disappears from view.
Target acquired.
Tracksuit Mare half sings and half sneers. She promptly vaults over the railing, tucking her wings in, and slices through the air silently, descending upon the stallion like a vengeful angel of truffle retribution. Now is not the time for vaguely romantic similes, damn it. Anyway, I launch myself over the railing after her, quickly reaching the ground floor and snapping my wings out for a moment before colliding with the table. I'm not a stunt flyer, but I am blessed with moments of accidental badassery. Instead of soaring a hair's width over the heads of the amazed cafe goers, I hit a table. Too hard. My momentum brings me to my knees and the mercifully empty table to the ground, snapping the legs and sending the useless little tea candle flying. The round tabletop skids for just a short distance and stops, but I don't.
Oh no.
I wind up cartwheeling through the air, getting 3 full rotations in before gravity pulls me back down to another table. Unfortunately, this still leaves me upside down, so I have no choice but to attempt a one-legged hoof spring, which actually works, praise to be to Celestia. I begin to leap from surface to surface, only stepping in a mocha once before I hit the final table. It apparently has a wobbly leg and I land too far off center, and it crashes to the floor. But it turns as it falls, and the end result involves me hurtling towards the front door on a slowly rotating tabletop, my mane whipping in the wind while clouds of sugar burn into the background.
Well, hey. Little tea candles are good for something.
Somepony had the good sense to leave the front door open as they fled to safety, so I sail unhindered into the chilly air, grim determination plastered onto my features.
If you look like you know what you're doing, no pony's gonna bother you. Unless they're Rainbow Dash.
I spot Tracksuit Mare zipping around a corner not so far away, and the chase is on. An hour and a half later, we're back to where we started, without the truffles.
I don't get it.
The other mare pants. Well, I guess stunt flyers aren't trained for endurance. Or maybe they are. She stretches out her forelegs and drops her head, breathing deeply, and then perks back up.
We should have had him. No kidding.
I replied, massaging my temple. This should have not have been hard. Mere circumstance had kept him from us, rather than any incompetence on our part. Tracksuit had been right on his tail, about to pounce, and then a massive bouquet of roses came from literally nowhere and avalanched onto her head, and a moment later, a blushing unicorn had stuck her head out of the window and shouted apologies, but the damage was done. Similar incidents followed. We lost him after some punk cults zoomed past in chariots, nearly mowing us over with their illegal street racing, and we lost him in the crowd at the movie theater, where some film about the black and white color spectrum had just concluded, spilling dozens of couples onto the cloud streets, and that reminds me, I need to contact my agent about the possibility of copyright infringements. The whole Many Shades of Grey main it's kind of my thing.
Still, I still think that was him by the air station. Then he'd be miles away by now. That guy boarded a balloon a good 40 minutes ago.
I snapped.
So, let's go!
Her raspy voice is impatient and demanding, offering no compromise, no alternative. I love it. Two can play at that game.
We should have a plan at least. You take the air and do a quick perimeter around the city. I'll retrace his path to the station. At the rates we're going, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a trail of rose petals leading right to him. Yeah, Spitfire.
The mare groans. Then she's in the air and gone, leaving the faint smell of spring in her wake. I rub my hooves together. Time to get down to business. While there was nothing so conspicuous as a trail of flower petals, I did find an ID card near the ticket booth, along with a crumpled straw wrapper. Examination of the card revealed it to be a standard issue for the Canterlot Guard, and yep. Yeah, that's him in the picture. We managed to confirm that he's on his way to Canterlot. The ticket master required a bit of persuading, but after 30 seconds of a professional flyer speed flapping her wings in his face, while I held his eyelids open, he relented and gave us access to the customer registry. A wise decision on his part, considering that a chronic case of dry eyes can result in permanent damage. The stallion with the truffles, stalwart steadfast. Oh, dear Celestia people, let me name your kids if that's the best you can do, is estimated to arrive in Canterlot in an hour. What I'm trying to figure out is why we're sneaking through the darkened halls of the Wonderbolt Academy, instead of undermining Canterlot's infrastructure and rigging it to explode if we aren't handed the truffles. Tracksuit Mare eases the door open, and we slip into what appears to be the Commandant's office. She jabs her hoof at the desk, and I nod. Whatever it is we're after, it's in a drawer. A stealth extraction of an important item? Well, that's right up my alley. I leapt through the air, smoothly somersaulting over to the desk and landing neatly behind it with a soft thud. My companion is crossing the floor with a painstakingly placed hoofstep, and more, one to the left, another a bit to the right, one that turns her around completely, so that I'm staring at her mane as it glistens in the moonlight. And then the idiot is backed up against the desk. Instead of jumping over it, she folds it in half, backwards, and scoots across the surface, shoving paperwork and statuary every which way.
What are you doing?
I hiss.
Watch and learn.
She smirks, rolling over onto her stomach. There goes a plaque signed by the princess, and reaching down to fiddle with a drawer. It slides open silently, revealing 30 pairs of sunglasses and a few photographs, as well as a softly glowing keycard that gets snatched up by a seafoam blue hoof. I briefly see a group of Pegasi smiling at the camera, laughing, before the drawer closes. What is this melancholic emotion thing, and why does it think now is an acceptable time to creep in on my consciousness? Reminding me of how awesome it was to be able to share a successful adventure with other ponies, even if only for a single request.
No. Think about Tarzapan and that jerk who stole my share of the treasure and left me for dead. You idiot.
The stunt flyer stands in front of the desk now, rummaging in her saddlebags. She pulls out a bottle of perfume and bites down onto the round mister, dousing the desk in a strong sense of rosemary and vanilla. Okay? I mean, maybe this was part of some weird military ritual? I have no clue. I silently trot over to the door, noticing too late that she stashed the perfume bottle away and is frantically beckoning me back. I spot the light under the door right as my hoof touches the only creaky board in the entire academy. The light rapidly grows brighter now, accompanied by increasing loud hoofsteps. On instinct, I reach out and lock the office door, then spring off to the traitorous board and hover above the desk. The stunt flyer curses under her breath.
Fucking Whiplash is on duty tonight. Of course he is. And the moron can't stay off one floorboard. Fuck me.
The doorknob rattles.
Hey, Major Asshole, think we might want to make an escape?
Something jingles in the hallway, followed by the scraping of key and lock. Without waiting for a response, I throw up the window sash, grabbing the tracksuit ninny, and leaping into the open air. The door bangs open a second later, and for the briefest of moments, we're falling through the near darkness, pale clouds surrounding over intertwined limbs like ghosts. But then I let go of her and open my wings.
Pegasus, duh.
And we soar away from the academy, one step closer to stalwart steadfast.